So can you summarise? Sorry.
You said James.
Welcome to the channel. In today's video, Steve Brunskill and special guest Anthony Phoenix will be guiding you through the backhand drive. Also featuring tip of the day. These tips help provide key insights that can improve your performance. Common mistakes, a few pointers that fine-tune your techniques and steer you clear of them familiar errors. And if that's not enough, Steve throws in a practical drill for you to take away to your next training session. Let's get into it.
So, what we're going to look at today is the backhand topspin or drive. Okay, just keeping it quite basic. So, always, as we've said before in previous videos, feet shoulder width apart, bending the knees, slight lean forward, and just let the arms be relaxed and just raise them up. So my arm wants to start roughly parallel to the tabletop. Okay, and from here we're just going to come forward towards the ball and slight roll up. Okay, pushing into the ball and rolling up. So backhand counter, just nice and steady. I line my body up. One of the most important things is lining the centre of my body up. Heads forward over the ball. And one of the main things is to locate this elbow. So you can see my elbow is located out there, and I'll show you Anthony in a minute. And it wants to stay quite structured in this position here. What we don't want, and what a lot of people do wrong, is this elbow will move across and about on the around there. Yeah, we need to keep it up. So naturally, as anybody stands, you would stand in an anatomical position like this, your palms face in. That's just nice and relaxed. Raise it up, and that's basically my starting position from when I lean forward, and it'll be held there. Might hold it slightly out and ever so slightly up, but we don't want to hold it too high. And we've got a closed back angle, so you can see there's my neutral. I'll close the back angle ever so slightly, and this allows me to roll up the ball, creating the top spin that we need in this drive shot.
While you're doing that, a question.
Yeah.
When you said with the drive, there isn't any spin, but this is, you're saying top spin drive, so you're adding spin to this. Is that right?
There's always spin on the ball whenever you play. It doesn't matter what. Yeah. Even if I try to hit it with nothing, it will start to rotate one way or the other. Whereas later on, this shot will be developed into much heavier top spin. Yeah. So you always want to be playing with as much spin as we can get, but that we can develop later on. So there's still quite a bit of top spin, but we're driving it rather than actually looking at the spinning of it.
Right. That's
so this shot, the aim and purpose of this shot really is generally it's close to the table shot, where we're looking for speed, accuracy. You can be very accurate with this kind of shot. And we can manipulate the opponent is what we generally the backhand's used for. I can move it around, look for weaknesses, and then punish him when I get a weakness coming to me by using this. Can also be used really good for change of pace. So changing the pace on a forehand is much more difficult than on a backhand. We can get that little bit more feel, and we can maneuver it around, change the pace, and then catch your opponent out. So like I say, it's close to the table shot, or even over the table shot. Yeah. And what you want is, again, luckily for me, Anthony's very accurate, so the ball's landing there. But what I've got to do all the time is I've got to be lining the centre of my body up. So if I miss it, boom, that's the thing. So what I don't want to be is kind of over here, or in this position here on this side. You can see now that creates my elbow to move. Also the legs, just as I've said in the previous two videos, is the legs will be pushing up ever so slightly. That gives me a little bit of a lift as I play. I'm not actually coming up and down, but my legs are actually just giving that little kind of push at the legs and the knees, and that helps create this little lift. And again, the top spin is what gives you your safety in your shot. So it keeps the shot safe by keeping away from the net. And my wrist is just ever so slightly rolling over the ball. So I've got this action happening here, creating that little bit of top spin. So what I'll do is I'll get Anthony to come round here, and you can so people can see someone else doing it. Anthony's got really good technique. He holds, part of it is his body shape is always held in this static position. What we don't want is up and down with the head and moving the body. He line himself up and he's keep his elbow nice and static. So you'll be able to see if Anthony comes around this side. So you can see how Anthony's leaning into the ball. Obviously he's a lot taller than me, so he's got to get down a bit lower. And you can see how his elbow's up out to the side, but his back travels straight towards the ball, not across. And there you can see he just leaned over to get behind the ball. Little lean to get behind it if he needs to.
So it's the body, not the arm?
Yeah, so the arm doesn't move. That arm location will almost hold statically. And you can see the ball's top of the bounce basically is the main place you should try to be hitting that ball. Oh, you got it back. Oh, well done. Yeah, so if we switch ends again. Yeah. So just going back to the feet, you want to be slightly behind with your right or playing leg. So if you're left-footed, you'd be like this. So what that does, that creates a sort of square onto my opponent. Yeah. So it'll be here. If I was hitting down the line, it'd be a little bit there. You can get away with being square. A lot of the players gone square, but I think it's better if you can keep that just slightly back, okay, for this shot. And then by keeping that slightly back, it allows us to move to the forehand, where if I'm square, it makes this shot a little bit more difficult. Most common mistake, I think, especially from a beginner perspective, is a lot of beginners will play with this right leg forward, and then they'll be playing the shot like this, which does make it easy to play a backhand, but then when the ball comes to your forehand, you won't be able to play a forehand. That's probably one of the most common mistakes as a beginner. As somebody a little bit more advanced playing, it will be, the common mistake will be that this elbow will start to move out of position, or it'll be too tucked in. So the elbow locations, to me, is vital to keep that there.
Yeah, it won't be any fault of their own either. It's usually because you get played out of position.
Yeah, yeah. So when I said about the backhand being really good for manipulating your opponent, that would be it. Your backhand can be very precise where you're playing it, so I'd probably go out wide and then aim for the hip, and if I can get my opponent to do this, or
you've then got them off guard, and the next shot's away, yeah.
And then probably bring in your bigger shots, you know, your forehand loops and backhand loops and things like that would probably go in there. So that would be the most common mistakes. Tip of the day is basically the same thing really, locating that, locking this in more or less a located position. Yeah, the elbow would be tip of the day, and trying to take the ball top of the bounce. Yeah, don't let it drop too low, otherwise we're going to have to increase the amount of top spin we're playing.
Yeah. Anything to add to that?
What for tip of the day?
Yeah.
Maybe try and stay behind the ball.
Yeah.
You get way more.
I've got 3 wrote down on that.
Yeah, you get way more control if you're behind the ball. If you're outside of the ball, it's almost like you wouldn't write on a piece of paper outside your vision. You know
Good
what
point.
I mean? You'd do it inside.
And for a drill, a really good drill, I think, for this is actually what you would probably do in a match kind of situation, where you would probably play 2 balls here to the hip side, and then 2 balls just off the angle, and so that the player has to, as Anthony just said there, we have to move behind this one, 1, 2, move behind this one, 1, 2, and so on, all to one spot on the other side. But it's really good for the other player as well, because they're going to be playing 2 to the hip, which I don't want, and 2 out wide. So both players in this drill have got a really good practical thing to train on. One moving behind the ball, the other one aiming for the 2 points that you need to be aiming for in a match. Okay, so Anthony's going to feed, so it'll be 2 there, and then 2 into where my elbow is. I've got to get my body lined up behind, see that coming. So after I hit every ball, we've got to be looking up. So in my peripheral all the time is Anthony's bat. I'm not watching the ball all the time. I'm just taking little glances. Oop, there you go, he went wrong, but I spotted it.
You're chuffed with yourself about that, aren't you?
Yeah, that was good, that. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get that one back. So, that's a really, really good, effective drill. I don't know which side I'm looking at.
Oh, you're okay. It's
okay. So we have our table. Yep. We'll have one which will be the backhand feeder. Yep. Yeah. They've got to be accurate and aim the ball out off the side and then into the hip. So you got your hip there. Yep. And this player here is going to have to move between the 2 points and play a backhand from there and a backhand from there.
Yeah.
As we just demonstrated.
And obviously the feeder is putting them back. Sorry, the backhand player is always back to that corner, isn't it?
Yeah. So this will
to the backhand feeder.
So yeah, I'll be returning back just to the one spot because it's too difficult if both were trying to do it.
Yeah.
And then obviously after say 7-10 minutes, switch round. So you're practicing both. One is if you're the person dominating the exercise by moving the ball, and the other one by matching that domination by getting behind the ball and being able to cope with the pressure of being moved. So basically we've looked at the backhand drive, the aims and purposes for doing it. We've looked at the stance where we should be stood and actually the technique that we need. We also looked at common mistakes of moving the elbow around, and tip of the day being behind the ball and again locating this elbow and keeping it locked in that position there. The drills, this is a really nice drill for both players because you're looking at moving and also being accurate with the ball. See you on the next one. Right, okay, right. Oh, I'm typing this.